are the incredible true life stories of people who face their most desperate hour and live to tell about it. Everything you are about to see is real. Real people, real danger, real excitement. Get ready to experience the thrill of a lifetime. You are about to witness the world's most amazing videos.
Portland, Oregon. At a minor league baseball game, the ball is driven to deep right field. And suddenly, disaster. Right fielder Rodney McRae crashes through the fence at full speed. A base runner scores. Then the cameraman quickly refocuses on the outfield. Rodney is still down and not moving. Let's take another look. Rodney chases the towering fly ball back to the warning track, but he slams into the wall face first. Rodney's teammate rushes in and peers through the opening in the smashed fence, fearing the worst. Incredibly, Rodney is okay.
My teammates are like kind of scared to come down there because they think I'm like dead. So I'm sitting there, I didn't want to panic, so I'm sitting there touching my forehead and my nose and my forehead and like, okay, I just ran through a wall. Okay, and I'm like, okay, what day is it? Then here come the center fielder. He sticks his head through the wall like, dude, are you okay?
Rodney is amazed his injuries aren't more severe.
I just had a little abrasion. I bit my lip, had a little bruised shoulder. I don't know how, why, I didn't hurt myself real seriously.
A closer look reveals just how lucky Rodney is. As he barrels into the wall, he narrowly misses a beam that's just above his head. Rodney knows he came within inches of ending his baseball career.
Once in a while, somebody who hasn't seen it, I show it to him, and to this day, I still flinch. I mean, from the sound effect. And I'm like, wow, I survived that.
Hollywood, Florida. The Diplomat Hotel, a shining jewel on the Miami beachfront. Until today. Meet Mark Loiseau, the man with the most dangerous job in the world. He blows up buildings for a living.
A little bit of explosives affecting the structure of a building or a bridge will let gravity rule, and it's coming down right now.
Las Vegas, Nevada. Like many a gambler's bankroll, this plush hotel is gone in a matter of seconds. The explosive charges unleash a powerful force that tears the casino apart. In the blink of an eye, the 20-story building crumbles to the ground.
The largest single structure we ever brought down was Hudson's at 2.2 million square feet. It was also the tallest building ever taken down at 432 feet.
Hudson's department store covers an entire block in crowded downtown Detroit. Apartments and offices are less than 50 feet away. One miscalculation and the massive brick structure could topple into surrounding buildings and the people inside them. The explosives are fired. There is no turning back. Amazingly, none of the neighboring buildings is damaged, and no one is hurt. Next, Mark devises a plan to bring down the house in Chicago. His demolition of this aging apartment complex goes off as easy as 1, 2, 3. Watch again. As the first building implodes into a pile of rubble, explosions rip through the second. Then, with incredible precision, the third sinks to the ground.
We, at last count, had taken down over 7,000 structures in terms of tons of debris in the multi-millions.
Having detonated thousands of explosives without injury, Marc Loiseau has more than earned the title, the Master of Disaster. China Lake, California. Air Force fighter jets take to the sky in a training mission. But suddenly, the pilot of an F-18 fires a missile. The heat-seeking rocket soars across the sky and strikes the tail wing of an F-4 Phantom. The disabled aircraft begins to spiral out of control, plunging thousands of feet. Then, without warning, the jet's fuel tanks explode in a horrific blast. The streaking comet of flaming wreckage breaks apart and plummets toward the ground. It slams into the desert floor and erupts in a hellish ball of fire. It's hard to imagine anyone surviving this terrifying disaster. Luckily, no one had to. That's because the F-4 Phantom used in this training exercise was unmanned. But the precision shot that brought it down is an explosive example of the destructive power of this weapon of defense. Cornwall, England. Australian daredevil Matt Coulter is preparing to jump his four-wheeled cycle over a 30-foot-high riverboat. Nicknamed the Kangaroo Kid, Matt is known all over the world for his death-defying stunts. But today's jump will be his most dangerous ever. Matt speeds around the corner and hits the ramp at full throttle. When suddenly, disaster. Watch as the rear tires hit the top of the boat, violently catapulting the daredevil into the muddy river below. Matt is unconscious and drowning. Rescuers dive in and drag his lifeless body to the shore.
Get him up over here in your hand. Bring him in black.
But to the relief of his worried crew, Matt is still breathing. He is battered and bruised, but incredibly, he's alive.
I'm a bit dizzy, I'll tell you that. I think we can cancel that ambulance. Boys here. Good, mate. You're going to give him a kiss, eh?
Matt's son, Michael, rushes through the crowd to his father.
He really didn't know what the deal was there. He must have been really worried. And when I think about it, he must have been panicking a bit and just in shock himself, poor little fella.
Matt's ill-fated stunt was doomed before he ever hit the ramp. Watch again. The strong current pushed the boat closer to shore, making a successful jump virtually impossible.
When I hit the ramp, I saw it was a lot closer than it should have been. There was a rope holding it to the bank to the side, and somebody left it loose.
Was that good or what?
But as soon as Matt recovers from this harrowing ordeal, he does the unthinkable. He returns to try the stunt again.
I wanted to prove to the world, prove to all the skeptics, that I could jump this quad and I could fly it a long way.
To prevent him from hitting the boat this time, Matt's crew has constructed an even taller ramp. The Kangaroo Kid takes a final look at his target. He immediately notices something is wrong. The higher ramp has greatly increased his risk of losing control in midair. But with the large crowd waiting for him to jump, Matt makes a fateful decision.
So I thought, I'll just go for it and see what happens. Surely I won't get killed.
Matt takes off, racing down the dirt road at 70 miles per hour. But again, disaster strikes. Matt flies off the bike and slams into the ground with bone-crushing force. His terrified wife and crew members race to his side. Remarkably, he's still conscious. Although Matt has suffered multiple fractures and severe nerve damage to his left leg, he somehow manages a smile. Miraculously, doctors are able to save Matt's shattered limb. Although he's haunted by the memories of these near-fatal jumps, the Kangaroo Kid continues to defy gravity and death.
I'd sacrificed a lot. I'd nearly killed myself twice. I'm not going to give up now.
New Sewickley Township, Pennsylvania. Police have been called to this quiet residential neighborhood to investigate a strange disappearance. Officers set up a surveillance camera to videotape this backyard in an attempt to gather evidence. Suddenly, a man wanders out of the wilderness. He casually strolls toward the house as if he lives there. But this is not his home, and those are not his panties.
I seen this individual probably within 25 feet where I was sitting, actually taking garments off the line by the handsful.
Every Wednesday for the past 7 weeks, this man has been stuffing his pockets with frilly underthings. He's taken so many that the lady of the house is completely out of clean underwear.
We had to go out and get a purchase order to buy undergarments for her to reimburse her to keep the case going.
Then, the thief notices he's being watched. He makes a break for it. But this panty raid is over.
I identified myself as a law enforcement official, and he took off running like a deer out towards the woods with undergarments in his hand.
When police finally catch this brazen undie snatcher, he's only left with one defense. Deny, deny, deny.
He still had a handful when I arrested him. He denied it. He told me that I didn't know what I was talking about.
But when officers confront him with the video proof, they find his defense strategy is full of holes.
So I asked him if he would mind helping the police, and he said yes, he would. I said, we have a video. Since you pass through there on a regular basis, maybe you've seen a subject. I showed him the video. He said, that's me. I said, well, I guess case closed.
The panty bandit is brought to justice.
He was found guilty in the Beaver County courts
because his own stupidity hung him out to dry. Auckland, New Zealand. A tanker collides with a car and erupts into a massive column of fire. The driver of the car has already escaped. Firefighters don't believe anyone else could still be alive in the flaming wreckage. But suddenly, something beneath the burning tanker catches the eye of firefighter Roy Kennedy. It seems impossible, but there is movement.
I saw a small human hand waving from under the wheels. There was no other body part or person visible, just a very small hand waving in the smoke.
12-year-old Shirley Young is caught in the wreckage. But to reach her, Broyd must march into the raging inferno. The brave firefighter doesn't hesitate. He rushes through a 1,000-degree wall of flames to get to Shirley. But when Royd finds her, his heart sinks. Shirley's legs are pinned under the blazing truck, and there's no way to free her.
She was screaming, she was crying, she was yelling. She was in a dreadful, dreadful situation.
Now Royd realizes that he is trapped along with the little girl.
I knew that we were both going to die because there was no way out.
Fire crews are determined not to give up. They blast the flames with water and foam in an attempt to create an escape route. But Royd doesn't think they can make it.
Knowing that we were going to die, I took my helmet off and strapped it to her head and arranged the visor, pulled that down so that when they found her, at least she'd still have a face that people could look at.
Royd tries to take the little girl's mind off the pain by telling her stories about his horse and inviting her to go riding.
She was in a pretty serious way and she needed something to raise her spirits.
Firefighters continue to wage their battle against the hellish onslaught. Then, at the last possible moment, rescuers are able to fight back the flames and get to the tanker. Jacks are quickly put in place and the burning truck is lifted. At last, Shirley is free. Royd delivers her to safety. Overcome with emotion, the exhausted fireman gives the suffering little girl a tender kiss.
We had bonded in such a way through such a horrendous experience that it was a loving father-daughter kiss, and she just needed that little peck to complete the rescue operation and to let her know that someone was looking after her.
Fellow firefighters try to console the emotionally drained hero. Shirley spends several days in the hospital. Her injuries are so serious that she loses part of her right leg. But thanks to Royd, she has the inspiration to make a full recovery.
He sat beside me and was telling me about his daughters having horses, and that when I get out from the hospital I can go and ride the horse. It was really good what he'd done for me, because it put his life in a bad position too.
Castaic, California. A fistfight in a correctional facility explodes into a full-scale riot. The inmates square off using makeshift weapons. The brawlers throw whatever they can get their hands on. Then, the confrontation takes a potentially deadly turn. A rioter throws a metal container, narrowly missing other prisoners who are huddled against the wall. But the rampage comes to a sudden halt. Explosive grenades are thrown. One of the inmates is hit while others run for cover. The intense blasts rattle the walls as smoke fills the room. But the guards aren't throwing ordinary hand grenades. They're using non-lethal weapons called sting balls. When the devices explode, they spray a barrage of 100 tiny, hard rubber balls, immobilizing their target. According to Corrections Officer Chuck Helton, these weapons are extremely powerful.
Being struck with a sting ball would probably feel similar to a baseball pitcher hitting you with a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
An inmate who's been hit in the side by a sting ball is led out of the cell block to be questioned.
Can you lift up your right arm? All right, that's the result of the sting ball.
Since this facility is full of vicious gang members, guards are thankful to have these new devices to maintain the peace. Although sting balls are painful, the highly effective weapons help guards restore order without using deadly force or putting their own lives in danger.
The world's most amazing videos will continue.
"70 miles off the coast of Australia, the most advanced submarine in the Royal Australian Navy is on battle maneuvers. Assisting in this exercise is a Navy destroyer, which can carry as many as 207 crewmen. The sub dives to attack them. All men are ordered to battle stations. Then, an enormous blast rips through the 2,000-ton battleship. The smoke clears, revealing that the destroyer has been blasted in two. But there are no casualties, because no one is aboard the giant naval craft. This is a torpedo launch test, and the target is a 30-year-old decommissioned ship. The destruction, however, is real. Let's watch again as the destroyer's 4 million-pound steel hull is blown out of the water. Smoke erupts from the center of the ship. Shockwaves reduce the boat's midsection to a floating pile of debris. The ragged, twisted metal proves the lethal power of this modern war machine. Syracuse, New York. America's top gymnasts compete in the National Sports Festival. All-American Brian Meeker is one of the leaders in the 6-event competition. He's been anxiously awaiting this part of the program, which features his specialty, the vault.
I was good at it. It's kind of like anything, success breeds motivation. I happen to, be able to run fast, jump high, and flip well.
Brian's not satisfied with his first jump, so he carefully adjusts the springboard for his second attempt. He wants to be perfect, because the competition is being broadcast on national television. Brian charges down the runway, but then he slams into the pommel horse with tremendous force and collapses in agony. An emergency medical team rushes to Brian's side. The crowd waits silently to find out just how badly he's hurt. Look again. Brian accelerates down the 65-foot runway at top speed, but he oversteps the springboard, causing him to slam chest first into the 350-pound vaulting horse. The impact snaps Brian's head backward in a jarring whiplash.
It's kind of like getting the wind knocked out of you, but multiply it times, 20. When I hit the horse, it was just confusion and shock. I was not expecting to be recoiling. I was expecting to be saluting the judge. I think you can see from looking at it that it could have been very serious if I would have rotated a little more.
Incredibly, Brian recovers in time to earn a spot on the U.S. Olympic team. But he'll never forget the terrible accident that could have ended his athletic career forever. Copenhagen, Denmark. A television cameraman is preparing to shoot a news story outside the country's oldest prison. But suddenly, there's an enormous crash. Sitting in a cloud of dust is a 20-ton bulldozer. It has just smashed a giant hole through the solid brick prison wall. A dozen prisoners, some of them convicted murderers, escaped through the opening. Moments later, stunned prison guards can only stare at the 26-foot prison wall, now a pile of rubble. Then, they chase the dangerous fugitives through the residential neighborhood. Embarrassed prison officials try to stop the cameraman from shooting, but they're too late. He's already got the story of the year. With the videotape evidence, police soon recapture all the fugitives from this, the largest prison break in Denmark's history. Bullfighting. The ultimate showdown between man and beast. Valencia, Spain. Matador Jose Manzanares is about to take part in the most bizarre battle of his career. Another matador, El Zorro, enters the ring, but he's not here to fight the bull. It's Jose he's after. Watch again. El Zorro thinks Jose is mocking him, and there's hell to pay. But Jose strikes back and lands a glancing blow. As Jose and El Zorro continue to lock horns, several other matadors try to break it up, leading to a bench-clearing brawl. The situation is so unusual, even the bull the men are supposed to be fighting looks on in disbelief. The crowd is going wild. Jose wins the popularity contest as the fans vote with their seat cushions. El Zorro is not amused. Eventually, authorities escort El Zorro out of the ring and calm the spectators. When the dust settles, the final tally is 2 matadors, 1 fight, no bull. Providence, Rhode Island. Police are searching the streets for 3 armed bank robbers. But then, the manhunt takes a horrifying turn. John Hicks, a vicious career criminal, has ambushed Officer Osvaldo Castillo and taken him hostage. Hicks has wrestled away Castillo's service revolver and is pointing it at the officer's head. The fugitive has another gun pressed against the cop's throat. The gunman is desperate and knows his only hope of escape is a getaway car that's parked in the street. He's completely surrounded as he inches his way down the passenger side of the vehicle. He orders Officer Castillo to get in, but the brave cop tries to stall. Police can't even draw their guns because one wrong move could cost their fellow officer his life. Castillo, a 13-year veteran, knows that all he can do is stay calm and try to talk the gunman into giving up. But Hicks forces him into the front seat and orders him to drive. Castillo is certain the other officers will never allow Hicks to escape. They will have to shoot the fugitive, even at the risk of wounding Castillo. They have to act now. Police snipers see an opportunity and fire. The officers storm the car, unleashing a devastating hail of gunfire. His fellow policemen race in and drag him to safety. Officer Castillo has been shot in the hand. The heroic officer manages to get to his feet. He's in agony. Thankfully, he's alive.
It wasn't until I was sitting down on the sidewalk that I realized that I was safe.
Castillo was convinced the crazed outlaw was going to kill him.
The gun was going right through my ears, and I could feel that he wants to really shoot me. And I keep repeating to him, you are gonna die, and I'm gonna die. If you don't give up, we both are gonna die.
Let's watch again. As the fugitive opens fire through the back window, 2 cops hit the ground to avoid being shot. Inside the vehicle, Officer Castillo wrestles with the gunman.
And at that time, I grabbed his gun, and I did not allow him to turn around with his gun. I was holding his gun, and that's when I was shot.
Finally, the siege is over.
Well, at the very end, I was very thankful to the other brother police officers. They had no choice but to try to shoot this guy.
If not for the courageous efforts of his fellow officers, Castillo knows he would never have gotten out alive. Los Angeles, California. A 5-alarm blaze is raging out of control at a warehouse in the heart of the city. Fire crews douse the inferno with water, with no luck. The destruction spreads as flames climb 100 feet into the sky. Despite the danger, firefighters are forced to climb onto the roof in hopes of somehow containing the blaze. Their plan is to cut holes in the ceiling and blast the fire with water. But they have no idea that a gas line is leaking right under their feet. Let's watch again. Without warning, the gas erupts in a fiery explosion. Miraculously, no one is killed. The firefighters are able to get back on their feet and continue their battle. Despite the moment, it could have been their last. Taipei, Taiwan. The national legislature is locked in a heated debate over a new state lottery. Minority party members bang their desks, demanding to be heard. When the majority leader won't let them speak, they stage a sit-down demonstration. But the leader still refuses to listen. Suddenly, an enraged politician named Lee Mun-chung storms the podium, throwing books and papers in protest. Party members try to restrain Lee, but the furious statesman fights back with flying fists. He triggers a partisan-pounding free-for-all. Lee rushes down the aisle and charges an opponent, grabbing him by the hair. The man strikes back, clawing and gouging at Lee's face and eyes. The battle grows as the politicians clash in a frightening display of lawlessness. Some members try to restore order, but can't calm the fury of Lee Mun-chung. He lashes out at another rival. Landing one bruising blow after another. Supporters in Lee's corner try to calm him down. But the Taiwanese terror storms back into the fray. He arms himself with a wooden flagstick and pummels a defenseless opponent. Finally, the fighting stops. But it will be many months before this hallowed hall of justice recovers from Lee Mun-chung's ferocious filibuster. Roseville, California. A crowded residential neighborhood is the scene of a bizarre turn of events. A sedan is spinning backwards out of control, and there's no one at the wheel. The car's owner started her vehicle with a screwdriver. When it unexpectedly shifted into reverse, she was startled and ran back into her house. police are baffled as to why she left the car running in the middle of the street.
She didn't have a lot to say. She just told me that was her car and had about a half tank of gas in it, and she went back in the house. She wasn't too concerned.
Now it's up to the officers to stop the vehicle before innocent bystanders are harmed. But to play it safe, they decide to let the car run out of fuel, even if it takes all night. But then, after 20 terrifying minutes, a sudden break. The car slams into the curb.
Slow it down.
It barrels backward into a row of garbage cans and parallel parks itself on the sidewalk. Police rush in and turn off the engine. Let's take another look. The car suddenly veers off and hits the curb. Then it careens into the trash cans, bringing an end to the dizzying dilemma. Thankfully, no one is hurt. And no charges are filed against the woman behind this reckless rampage. Houston, Texas. Police are in hot pursuit of two men wanted for home invasion. They broke into this house, intent on stealing thousands of dollars worth of electronic equipment and appliances. Now they're racing down the freeway at speeds topping 100 miles an hour. They leave the patrol cars behind. Only news and police choppers are able to keep up. They think they're getting away, but their luck's about to change. Watch again. The suspect narrowly misses two cars and skids onto the overpass. Then he rams head-on into the car driven by Beverly Stubbs.
The first minute I saw something coming at me, I realized it was this car and that it wasn't going to be able to make that turn without hitting me.
The man in the passenger seat makes a run for it. And then he does something unbelievable. The fugitive jumps the guardrail, then dangles 30 feet above the concrete embankment. Watching in disbelief from his news chopper is pilot Rod Hooks.
The first thing I thought of when I saw him hanging there is this guy really wants to get away pretty bad.
As a patrol car approaches, the man makes a shocking choice. He lets go. The suspect slams into the embankment and rolls to the ground. But then he's right back on his feet.
It amazed me in that, number one, he would take a jump like that, and number two, he didn't get hurt bad.
Moments later, the outlaw finally surrenders to a police chopper in a nearby field.
That was a very large open field, and of course, you can't outrun a helicopter.
Beverly Stubbs is still shaken from her ordeal.
You never know when you get up in the morning what's going to happen to you. If I had had my door open or windows open, one of those guys might have jumped in the car out of just fear, or might have held me as a hostage.
To this day, even the veteran chopper pilot is amazed that the desperate man would risk his own life to get away.
The only thing I can figure is he didn't know how much of a drop he had. And he just grabbed a hole, flipped himself over, threw his body over the top, and said, "Oh my gosh, I got a long drop here."
Richfield, Utah. This stretch of Interstate 70 is so notorious for drug trafficking that police call it Cocaine Lane. So Deputy Phil Barney is cautious as he pulls over a driver for speeding.
Hi. Could I see your license and registration, please?
The officer becomes suspicious when he learns that neither the driver nor her male companion owns the car. So he radios to see if they have a criminal record.
Shows a failure to appear on forgery, charge and conviction on fraud and possession of handgun.
Because of their weapons conviction, the officer calls for backup. He cautiously approaches the vehicle and orders the suspects to stand in front of the car as he begins his search.
Would you step up in front of the vehicle? You step up in front with her.
At first, he doesn't notice, but the man and woman are moving toward him.
Step back up in front of there.
They ignore the officer's orders and get back in the car.
Hey! Hold it! Hold it!
Deputy Dwayne Ross arrives, but it's too late.
Get out of there! Hey! Hey! Hey, get out of that car! Hey!
As the suspects speed away, the officers shoot at their tires. They hit their target.
Let's go.
The suspect's car is equipped with self-sealing treads.
They got dope there. Are they? Yeah.
Deputies Barney and Ross take off after the desperate criminals.
How they figure they're going to get away from two police officers, I don't know, but yeah, I guess they figured we got nothing to lose, we just well try it.
We've got a chase going. This is a 1035.
The female suspect tosses a white powdery substance out of the window.
Yeah, they're throwing cocaine and stuff out. It's crazy.
Even though they are throwing the drugs out of the car, the police know they have enough evidence to convict the suspects.
That's the three man. We can pick the knife up to put him in prison forever.
Now, the deputies must act quickly to end this high-speed chase. Barney suggests that Ross use a shotgun to shoot out the suspect's tire while he's driving.
You got your shotgun where you can get at him? Yeah. Go up there and let's take his tire out.
I wondered, can I do that? Am I capable of doing that at, 60, 70 miles an hour down the freeway? Out an open window, driving with one hand and shooting with the other? Can I do that and do it safely?
Come around on my side, Dwayne. Get a better chance of it.
Deputy Ross accelerates until he pulls alongside the outlaws. This time, he blasts their rear tire with a high-powered weapon. It works. The tire goes flat. The suspects finally stop, and they're ordered out of the vehicle.
Step out with your hands up and on your face.
The fugitives are apprehended without a fight.
Now you lay flat on your face. Lay out.
Further search of the truck reveals the criminals didn't dump all of their drugs.
Little Mary Jane, too.
Deputies discover that the white substance thrown into Cocaine Lane is actually PCP, a dangerously powerful narcotic with a street value of over $1 million. With this mountain of evidence, the fearless deputies take these drug dealers off the streets for good.
It was a job that had to be done. We done it. Just all in a day's work.
Arapahoe National Forest, Colorado. Without warning, relentless snowstorms can cause killer avalanches. Fearing that an unexpected slide could trap innocent victims, highway crews devise a plan to control the onslaught of snow and ice. Using a helicopter, they drop explosives to blast away the accumulated snow. TV reporter Russell Ruffin and cameraman Jim Stair are on hand to cover the story. First, the blasting seems to be working. One explosion sends a wall of snow plowing through 50-foot-tall trees. But then, something goes wrong. The avalanche veers off course. It rages down the hill, leaving a trail of devastation in its wake. Over 1 million tons of snow race toward the terrified newsmen. It appears that Russell and Jim have been buried alive. Let's watch again. As the rampaging avalanche barrels down the hill, the men have only seconds to escape. Jim leaves his camera on a tripod and runs for his life. Russell jumps into his car. As the wall of snow engulfs him, Russell fears he'll never see his family again.
Feel like, what did I do this morning? Did I kiss my wife goodbye? Did I say I love you to my kids? And all those things run through your mind when you think that's the end of it right there.
The avalanche stops just before Russell is entombed in the ice. Miraculously, he survives. But what about Jim? Russell wipes off the camera, looks through the lens, and sees his friend. Amazingly, he has also survived the horrifying ordeal. Look closely as nature's awesome fury bears down on the two men.
I would compare it to getting hit by a freight train. It does a lot of damage. It has a lot of force behind it.
The two newsmen were back at work the next day. Their assignment? Another avalanche.
Houston report photographer Jim Starr and I were standing just a couple of hundred yards over that direction when the avalanche hit right here.
But the dedicated newsmen have learned their lesson. This time, they cover the blast from a safe distance.
You know, as a reporter, they always tell you, go ahead, get involved, get involved, get involved. Well, we got involved. We just got too involved.
Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. One of the city's oldest buildings is engulfed in flames. A paint factory containing thousands of gallons of highly explosive chemicals is now a raging inferno. More than 50 firefighters battle the monstrous blaze. But they are held back by the searing heat and toxic smoke. 4 hours into the fierce fight, the exhausted men are still unable to control the flames. The roof has collapsed, and the firefighters have no idea that the massive wall above them is dangerously unstable. When suddenly, the wall gives way. A fiery avalanche smashes down on the street. Watch again. The building collapses, unleashing a giant slab of smoldering debris. Incredibly, the firefighters manage to escape the crumbling structure, and no one is injured. But these brave men will never forget the day they almost lost their lives. Midland, Michigan. This is the view of Kevin Howard's driveway from inside his garage. That's his blue pickup, 1949 Studebaker. Someone has been stealing things from his truck.
It makes a person angry, especially when you work hard your whole life and you know, try and provide things for your family and yourself, and somebody just comes by and takes it. It's very frustrating.
Kevin's mad as hell, and he's not going to take it anymore. So he's devised a plan to catch the crook on tape. Kevin has removed the lock to his garage door and aimed his video camera through the opening. Early the next day, he waits for the thief to arrive and records a running commentary of the sting operation.
The time now is 20 minutes to 7, and obviously it's getting lighter out, so we are ready for some revealing video.
Just then, his prime suspect approaches. It's his paperboy.
He's headed this way.
But suddenly, the unexpected.
Oh boy, that's gonna screw.
Two women stroll right in front of Kevin's house.
Son of a bitch.
Kevin fears that the women and a barking dog have scared off his suspect.
It's taken an awful long time to come over. Maybe he's waiting for things to settle down.
But the paperboy cycles up the driveway. He peers into the Studebaker and sees something he likes, a portable TV. The shifty suspect checks to see if anyone is watching. Then he reaches into the truck and takes the bait.
Oh, I'll be there. Bingo, you little bastard.
Kevin's mission is accomplished. The operation is a success. Even though the devious delivery boy takes the goods, at least he remembers to leave a newspaper. Inside the garage, Kevin can't contain his excitement.
My God, he's busted. Oops. And now, what I do is I shut this off and I call the police.
Officer Mark Taglauer never read a story like this in the local police blotter.
Well, I thought this guy was pretty amazing for spending that much time in his garage, and just to catch this kid on tape, he got busted. No question about it, and he knew it.
The paperboy is sentenced to probation and community service. It's an open and shut case thanks to Kevin Howard, video vigilante.
Next time on the world's most amazing videos.
Bob, can I get a glass of water?